Jai Ma Kamakhya, Jai Ma Tara, Jai Bhairab Baba. So today's video is about the upcoming Navaratris or the Durga Puja that is going to happen starting from the 22nd of this month, after the period of very intense Pitrupaksha that we have experienced due to the presence of two Grahans. So this Navaratri, like all other Navaratris, is a very specific time for Durga Upasana among all forms of the Divine Mother. So there are a few key things regardless of what the position of the grahas are. In general, whenever it comes to the Sharadiya Navaratri, the Ashwin Shukla Paksha Pratipada Tithi, when it starts and goes up to the 9 days. So few things before we go into actually the sadhana of this period. Let's discuss some of the key features and points of this time. Of all the periods of Devi Upasana in a year, including the Gupta Navaratris and this and that, there is not one that is as powerful and as potent as these 9 days are. More specifically, because we have already entered into the Kali Yuga, and as the Kali Yuga increases, there is greater amount of Rajaguna and Tamaguna that is going to affect everybody. In that kind of an environment, and especially when the negative forces all around will be at a much stronger footing, it is absolutely important, and not just important, it's we can naturally see somehow that this specific Navaratri of the Ashwin, starting from the Ashwin Shukla Paksha to the Navami Tithi and the Dasami Tithi, becomes extremely potent because the Divine Mother takes a very fierce and ugra swarup in this time. This is known as the Akal Bodhan. So, like in in all our scriptures, here too there are certain stories, spiritual stories associated with this time, and they tell us many clues and important messages for the Upasaka and the devotees of uh, of Devi, that what exactly should you expect and how should you approach this time. It contains, each of these are not just stories, but they contain very significant teachings and learnings for anybody has a strong, who's ready to, who's open-minded, and whose discrimination faculty has been opened by the divine. They can easily figure out many things from these stories. For example, the first thing that we learn is that this happens at a time when Lord Vishnu is sleeping. So therefore, in the previous yugas, most of the spiritual practices would be preferred to be done during the time when Vishnu is uh, awake. So basically, various kinds of dharmic activities are more in tune or more successfully completed at a period when these Chaturmasa, when Lord Vishnu is sleeping, is not the ideal time. However, what happened during the Ramayana is that Lord Rama, and the fight between Rama and Ravana happened at this time. In order that this kind of a battle takes place, a dharmic battle, and of such a fierce proportion, so impactful that even today, like 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 years later, whenever the battle might have happened, we still celebrate that. We still feel the impact of it in our lives in terms of the rituals that we do, the pujas we do, the transformation that we experience, the ideals that we look up to, because that's a Vishnu avatar who had come. It's not just any ordinary individual, and he comes only when there is an absolute dramatic transformation to be executed on the earth. That is when Vishnu comes down as an avatar. Now, in this phase, the fight happened when Lord Rama and when he fought Ravana. The fight happened at a time when the gods, when Vishnu himself, when the Chaturmasam was going on, and therefore the goddess had to be awakened from sleep. So therefore, this period was known as the Akal Bodhan. Akal means untimely. Udbodhan means awakening, the untimely awakening of the goddess. So the Kalika Puran, for example, goes into beautiful description where Brahma, who realizes that this great war is going to happen, so he goes in search of the goddess of war, RanaChandi, without whom no war is ever executed, and without whose blessing nobody can ever win any war. So as he keeps searching for her, eventually he comes across a small little girl sleeping under a vilva, a bale tree, small vilva tree, and singing stutis to her, he awakens her from her slumber, because that girl, he realizes, is none other than the great goddess Chandika, who is the mistress, the mistress of all war. Without her blessing, nobody ever wins a war. And if you take a philosophical look at life, everything is actually an act of war in some senses or the other. There's a struggle, there's a friction, there's a cheshta, there is a desire and an effort towards the desire. Sometimes it's fulfilled, sometimes it's not. This whole process is like a war. Every human being has to go through that. So her presence, her energy is present, integrally joined to our existence right from the moment of birth till the moment of death. And this itself is like an Advaitam of Goddess Durga. One has to have that vision to see how integral, how unique, and how powerfully enmeshed is this energy around us, all over, constantly, all the time, every plane of existence. And it is she alone who helps us overcome the difficulties, gives us the energy to pass through this battle and win eventually. When the Upasaka has sufficient faith and sufficient patience, eventual victory is assured, because it is only by her blessing that victory comes. So in the Ramayana, therefore, we see that the Akal Bodhan happens, the goddess is awakened, other gods also watch as the battle between Lord Rama and Ravana keeps happening, and then till the eighth day of the battle. Mind you, this version that I'm telling you does not come from the Valmiki Ramayana, it comes from the Shakta text like Kalika Puran. On the eighth day, Brahma realizes that Ravan is able to somehow fight, if not fully fight, it's sort of, contain Rama, who himself is a Vishnu avatar. So that itself is a big mystery, that how is Ravana able to, fight somebody as powerful as Rama. And then he realizes it's because Ravana has been worshipping the goddess and her blessings is with him. And as long as the blessings of the goddess is with an individual, even an avatar of Vishnu cannot defeat him completely. Okay. So then he realizes that this cannot go on. Ravana will not be defeated until that blessing of the goddess is removed from him. And so he comes and tells Lord Rama that you have to worship the goddess Chandika. And once she is pleased with this, pleased with your worship, she will remove the anugraha that she has on Ravana, and that is when victory will come. So on the ninth day, on the Ashtami and Navami, specifically, Lord Rama, in this specific rendition of the epic, it's believed that Lord Rama worshipped goddess Chandika. And as he was worshipping, he offered 108 lotuses. And this worship happened at the Sandhikshana, which is the Sandhi Kala, is the time when the Ashtami Tithi changes to the Navami Tithi, a 48-minute period of time. During this time, he offered 108 lotuses to the goddess. And these lotuses, in order to test his devotion, actually, this is not a test, but when the gods do something, it's more of a lila. Lila means a play acting they do, so that we humans can understand certain principles and elements of worship that is important. It's like a lesson for the whole world. They don't need to do anything, but yet they do acts which resemble our activities to some degree, but the real motivations and the energy behind this is entirely different. So the goddess takes one lotus away from, hides one of the 108 lotuses, and as Rama is about to offer, he suddenly realizes that there's one lotus less. And so immediately, without even blinking, without even thinking for a moment, he says that his own eyes are described by people as beautiful as lotuses. His eyes are lotus-eyed. And so he takes a arrow from one of his weapons and is about to pluck out his eyes and offer to the goddess. And at that moment, the deity, Divine Mother, RanaChandi, she manifests in front of Rama, holds his hand and says that my blessings, complete blessings are with you. You are Vishnu. Nobody else other than Vishnu has come down. And I am always with you because I am always with Dharma. And with that blessing, the very next day, Ravana is slain. and the war comes to an end. So there is two very interesting principles that we have to understand in this. One is that it is this phase, this act where Rama is actually fighting Ravana and destroying with the help of the goddess, is a period of where the goddess is most intense, where she is in a very fierce ugra swarupa. Okay, because for fighting certain kinds of evil, certain kinds of asuric forces, she also has to take up that extremely fierce form. This is first thing. Number two, this ends in a very victorious note for dharma. So therefore, if we utilize this time properly, then we also get some blessings because of the energy that was generated by the act of Rama defeating Ravana. We still feel the impact of it in our lives today if we are open as an upasaka. Third thing is that there are rules of the puja and there are more complicated rules. For example, Durga Puja happens in three kalpas, the Uttama Kalpa, Madhyama Kalpa, and the Adhama Kalpa. All the three forms are there, in which one of the ways of worship is the Kattayani Kalpa, which is 4 days puja. Then there is the Bhadrakali Kalpa, that is 9 days. Then there is the Ugrachanda Kalpa, which is 16 days puja. There are a lot of technicalities and all that is involved in Durga Upasana, etc. That is correct, no doubt about it. However, from an individual's perspective, if you worship Durga, if you worship this great goddess, there is a strong element of devotion and bhakti that is important. So here the goddess demonstrates that even though Ravana has been worshipping her for long and received a lot of blessings, that one act of Rama, that ability to sacrifice oneself, self-sacrifice, does not mean that you have to do something dramatic, but even the desires that we have, the instincts that we have, things that we take for granted, even being able to sacrifice them to the goddess is taken as something of great value. Okay, so that act, I mean, he didn't actually pluck out his eyes, but the very thought that he did not calculate unthinkingly, without any reservation, without any commercial transactional mindset of give and take, he sacrifices, he's ready to sacrifice himself for the deity. That act ensures his absolute victory. And by that, as I said, it's a lila, mind you. It's not that Rama actually had to do anything, but by this he teaches us, even thousands of years later, that this ultimate success in puja, in upasana, personal and private upasana of the great goddess, depends a lot on the amount of devotion, amount of non-calculating devotion that you can offer to her. That is very important. There is no transactional mindset like I'll do this so X will come, Y will happen, etc. will happen, etc. That's fine up to a level, but not enough to go to the higher stages where you will actually need to shed all this, change the entire thinking process. Lastly, in this video, the other thing that comes, the other aspect that comes in this is the importance of the Sandhi, the time between Ashtami and Navami. There's a 48-minute window when Rama offers 108 lotuses. So it's believed that anybody who offers 108 lotuses or additional to that 108 lamps to the goddess Chandika or Durga during this phase is immensely blessed and protected by the goddess. Not just that individual, but the whole Kula is blessed. So that is a ritual that is performed in many places during that time. So with this, this is like an overview of this period. Now let's come specifically to the upasanas that can be done by people in this time. Uh, Given the combination of grahas that are going on and the general time frame that is we are passing through, not just as one individual, I'm not talking about individual's horoscope, but as a country, as a race, as a people, the kind of karmic churn that is happening around us, it is the first upasana that one can do is okay. Before that, I will mention in the documents, my team will mention the documents. So it is for those who have never done a Ghata Stapana, it is a good time to start practicing doing a simple Ghata Stapana for the goddess. So the whole point of Ghata is that once you establish the Kalasham of the Ghata with certain mantras, there has to be water, there has to be 5 elements in it, etc. A couple of other steps. And then you invoke the generic deities that are there. Along with that, you invoke the goddess. Along with that, you invoke certain parivar devatas of the goddess. And then every day you can do a small puja of the ghata with flowers and little bit of naivedyam and a little bit of dhoop and diya, just panchatattva, 5 elements, which is basically you offer some, you offer some kumkum, you offer some gandham, then you can offer some flowers, you offer some diya, you offer a bit of agarbatti, dhoop, offer some naivedyam, it could be anything, fruits, sweets, whatever is freshly cooked, uh, etc. And then once you offer these 5 tattvas, you do a basic puja of the ghata with respect, with just using flowers, or if you don't have flowers, enough flowers, then you can use kumkum or akshat to offer to the ghata. And after this is done, then you start your sadhana. So this helps you integrate with the energy and develop your upasana into slightly more organized and a higher grade of sadhana. Now, if you already have a method of Ghata Stapana that you follow, you can keep doing that. This is specifically for people who have not done ever tried any Ghata Stapana. So I will mention a specific method. In fact, in the comments, in the description, or perhaps in a pinned comment, I'll ask the team to put up the basic method of Ghata Stapana. This is one of the methods, mind you. It could be very elaborate methods also are there in texts, but this method that I will mention is good enough to give you good results for a person doing private upasana, which means that his own sadhana of the goddess. Right. So once you do the Ghata Sthapana, then you keep worshipping, doing the sadhana that is to be done, and you will see that it has a uh, very powerful impact in your consciousness than doing the sadhana without establishment of the ghata. So at the end of the day, the kalasham, the ghata that you establish is your own head. It's like a representative of your consciousness. So once the kalasham is established, ensure that it doesn't move for those period of 9 days or 10 days in which you are completing the sadhana. By this, it gathers certain energies, and then it becomes, as you sit in front, it helps you to meditate more, it helps you to go deeper, and your sadhana itself, you'll see that becomes more enriched when you have a ghata or a kalasham that is established in front of you, representative of your own self, right? So every mantram that you are doing is like infusing a little bit of shakti into your consciousness, okay, so that it builds up, it becomes more pure, and it becomes more sanguine. The methods, exactly step by step processes, I will be mentioning, uh, as I said, I'll be mentioning either in the description or in a pinned comment, so you can follow that and do it. I won't be going step by step here in this video. uh, Coming to the next section, the first sadhana, in fact, that you can do after establishing the ghata. uh, this is related to the collective sadhanas that people have been doing. uh, Chant the Kunjika Stotram of Devi 27 times in the morning, 27 times in the evening. Or if you want to do it once, you can sit in the evening or night and chant it 54 times in one shot. Okay. Just light a diya nearby. If you can keep an akhanda diya, then it is very good. If not, just a normal diya is good enough. Okay. So 54 times you chant it. Once that 54 times is over, then you read the Argala Stotram from Durga Saptashati. Argala Stotram is a very powerful and unique stotra which most of us are already aware of. It helps to direct the energy of the sadhana into a more constructive and positive direction for the Upasaka, because otherwise the 13 chapters in the Chandi, in the Durga Saptashati, create a very exceptional amount of power, but that power is not directed at a specific instance or place. So this invocation of the Argala, and by the way, Argala Stotram is not just used for the Durga Saptashati, for any Devi sadhana, be it Kali, Tara, etc. A lot of people use the Argala Stotram. There are ways of doing Samputikaran of the Argala with different mantras. I'll not go into all that. But the Argala is by itself a very powerful, useful, unique prayer that helps to bring about a more positive uh, orientation in your life when you're doing Devi sadhana. So basically, you complete 54 recitations of the Kunjika. You can break it up into 27, or even when you're doing at night in between, if you need to get up, you can do that. You do just Samarpana of the stotram as you are doing simple japa. Simple japa means it's like a recitation of the stotra, and then you get up, and then again when you sit, you continue from wherever you have left the numbers. So once you complete, then you read the Argala Stotram. After reading the Argala Stotram, you meditate. You meditate on the goddess. You meditate on her, and just meditate with the sloka śaraṇāgata dīnārta paritrāṇa parayana. That one sloka is very powerful in terms of bringing out your complete surrenderance and devotion to the goddess. This is extremely important because remember that in this Kali Yuga, there is no individual who can do a perfect Upasana. It is impossible. Anybody who says who does it is actually bluffing. It is humanly impossible to do a perfect Upasana. But the gods, the deity, the Divine Mother is also kind. So if you make small mistakes, and if your surrenderance to her is complete and genuine and unreserved, unqualified surrenderance is there from your heart, a lot of your mistakes will be pardoned, and she will still bless you with much progress both in your spiritual life as well as material life. Though material life is not the primary aim, spiritual life is the primary aim. So the first sadhana is this, regarding use of the regarding the chanting of the Argala of the Kunjika Stotram. And Kunjika, why? Because we have already been doing the Kunjika with respect to the collective sadhanas that are being organized by the Kamakya Upasaka Foundation across almost 19-20 cities in India and abroad. Okay, this is one. Number two, what you can do is again another Ma Durga sadhana. In this case, you chant the 32 names of Ma Durga, but do it a total of 108 times every day for a period of 10 days, starting from 22nd, which is Pratipada. So every day you chant 108 times. You can do it in one sitting. That's very good. If not, then you take a break, no problem. But otherwise, everything else remains same, which is you will have a diya in front, you will have the ghata in front, and keep a small photo of Ma Durga or Ma Kamakhya. Kamakhya is also Durga. Kamakya takes up any form. She's Nirakara and she can become Durga, she can become Kali, she can become anything. So keep a photo of Ma Durga or Ma Kamakya, and you start chanting the 32 names of Durga 108 times every day for 10 days. Okay. Now, if you know how to do Homa, if you have a simple process of doing Homa, if you have learned anywhere, then on the last day you can chant this particular stotram and offer in the fire. This offering you do at least 9 times. So you chant the stuti and you add swaha to it and you put in the fire. Remember, whenever you're putting in the fire, it has to be swaha, right? So you do it 9 times. I mean, ideally, you should be doing it 100 times. That completes the full scope of it, because you're doing it, you're totally chanting it 1000 times. 1/10 of that would be 100 times. But doing it 100 times in one day is very tough for most people. It will take multiple sessions, 4 or 5 days of Homa. Or rather, you do it just 9 times. Okay. And after the 9 times are done, you finished it, then ensure that you go to any Devi temple and you offer at least a coconut and just some flowers and coconut, and feed a little girl. That goes even for the Kunjika Stotram also, because remember, there are 3 sadhanas I will tell you. In all of these, the last part, the end of the sadhana happens this way, that you, after you have completed, you go to any Devi temple, you offer a coconut and some flowers. Additionally, if you want to give something more, you can give a vastram, you can give a sari also, but it's not compulsory. And then if possibly, you feed one or more little girl, anybody, maybe somebody who's in the area that you stay, or if you can't find any other place, then if you find sometimes there are girls orphanages, underprivileged children, especially boys and girls, so you can feed there also. That's also a good enough idea. Okay. But even if you feed one girl, that is good enough. That means your sadhana is into completion. Or if you want to do it a little bit more elaborate manner, then you can do actually a Kanya Poojan, where a girl is made to sit and you worship her feet properly. You will need the help of a priest to do this. You may not be able to do it on your own. Okay? But yes, if you can't do all that, just feeding one girl is good enough. So this last part of the sadhana, where you go and offer something to the temple and you feed a girl, is common for both the first Kunjika Stotra sadhana as well as the 32 names of Ma Durga, which has to be chanted 1000 times in total in a period of 10 days. Okay. There's a third Upasana, and this is again something I'd already given in a video earlier. This is related to Kali. Because when we invoke Chandika, Chandika is a form who also contains energies of Kali. It is not just the normal. If you read the Durga Saptashati, you'll see that Mahakali, it starts as Mahakali, then there's Mahalakshmi, then there's Mahasaraswati. This is not the normal Kali. Mahakali is uh, a very vast kind of form of the Divine Mother, much more powerful and intense and fierce and cosmic, let's say, form of Makali. Okay, so but the Durga Saptashati, the Chandi Patha, contains the energies of Kali, Lakshmi, and Saraswati, all three of them together. So here there is one sloka from the Argala Stotram, Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali Kapalini, this full sloka, and I will mention it again in the description of the video. This is very, very powerful. This contains the names of the Divine Mother. If you want to do this sadhana, then it pleases both Ma Kali and Durga, this particular set of names. So you have to get a mala either of Rudraksha or of red colored Hakik, either Rudraksha or red Hakik, either of these two, okay? And chant 9 malas of this mantra every day for a period of 9 days. All right. And on the 10th day, you do a Homa with this mantra. Okay. A simple Homa where you invoke the goddess, gives. If you are already aware of a Homa Paddhati, then do it. If you're not aware of a Homa Paddhati, then skip the Homa, no problem. But otherwise, once you do the sadhana, once you do the japa, all you have to do is have a diya in front of you, and you rest as mentioned. The Ghata Stapana is to be done. Basic puja of the Ghata is to be done every day. Then you offer some naivedyam. Then the diya is there. Then you start your sadhana. This sadhana can be any of the three, either Kunjika Stotram or Durga 32 names, or this particular mantra, doing it at least 9 malas every day for a period of 9 days, and on the 10th day you do a Homa with this. If you're not able to do a Homa, then again chant it 9 times. That's all right. End of it, you go to any Devi temple, you offer a coconut and some flowers. If you want to offer vastram, you can offer a sari, and then you feed at least one little girl. This completes your sadhana for the Navaratri. Additional to this, one other important point is during the time of Sandhi, which is when the Ashtami and the Navami Tithi conjunction period comes in for a time of 48 minutes, 24 minutes on the end of Ashtami and 24 at the beginning of Navami Tithi. It will also vary depending on the exact Panchanga that you are using. I normally prefer to use the Drik Panchang for all these practices. So that specific period of time, you can offer a bali. Bali is, you offer it when you are, since you're doing the upasana at home, the bali is to be offered in a very sattvic manner, which means that you can take any fruit, maybe a banana or something, and use a fresh knife and cut it into two. It's like a symbolic sacrifice of all negatives around you. Or you can also do a lemon bali. You can keep a lemon and cut it into two, and once it is cut, if you're doing a lemon bali, once it's cut, you can convert the lemon into diyas by scooping it out, adding some ghee or oil into it, and then putting 2 wicks and lighting it. Or you can just use a fruit like a banana and cut it into two. This is a symbolic act, but this is a powerful act, because it is in the Sandhi, in the period of Sandhi, that the sacrifice is done to Ma Durga when Durga Puja happens actually. In olden times, it was more common. These days, it happens in specific temples and other areas. May not be as popular in normal, uh, uh, in the the collective Durga Pujas that happen, because the sensitivities of people have changed, unfortunately. But that period is extremely potent for offering of sacrifices. Again, sacrifice can be of two types. It could be pravritti marga or nivritti marga, something that is externalized, something that is internalized. Both of them have their own powers, benefits, and both of them are equally important. The tantras are not only about only meditating with your eyes closed and some internal state you attain. That you can do with yoga also, that you can do with Raj Yoga, or you can do in Vedanta. But tantras are equally interested in using the power that you generate through the process of the mantras and the rituals, that Shakti, and throwing it out into the world and seeing an impact of it around you. These, the outside and the internal, the exterior and the interior, has to be in sync. That is when it is a perfectly balanced upasaka. Anyway, so at that time, during that phase of Sandhi, you can offer a small bali to the goddess. If you can offer 108, as we were talking, 108 lotuses, then it becomes extremely powerful. If you can offer 108 diyas, then it becomes extremely powerful. But obviously, arranging for 108 diyas may not be possible for everybody. So it's not a compulsory feature of the sadhana. All you have to do is just one banana or a lemon bali during that time. Rest, you do the sadhana as it is. So effectively, this time you do a Ghata Stapana, you do a Puja of the Ghata. After Puja of the Ghata, you do any one of the three sadhanas that I have described. And then uh, you complete the sadhana on the period of Sandhi. You do the Bali. On the last day, you do a Homa. If you are capable of doing Homa, in terms of you know how to do Homa, only then. If you don't know how to do a Homa, then don't experiment suddenly on the last day. Then skip the Homa, just do Japa. That's fine. And at the end of the complete process, you visit a Devi temple, any Devi temple close by to wherever you are staying or doing the sadhana. Offer a coconut, offer some flowers. If you want to offer something more, you may offer a sari as well. Along with that, ensure that at least one little girl is fed something. It could be anything. It could be food, it could be sweets, it could be chocolates, anything. Something to feed a little girl. Once you do that, your whole process, the Durga Upasana, this Navaratri sadhana is completed, and you pray to the Divine Mother both for protection and strength and energy for yourself, your family, and for the Desha and for Dharma and for the collective society itself. So that's all for now. Jai Ma Kamakya, Jai Ma Tara, Jai Bhairab Baba.